Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force Newsburst Live with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by GeneralsJoesReborn.com. We're talking Super 7 for the third night in a row. Can you believe it? It's funny, if I'd have just waited for tonight, I would have had all the information. I wouldn't have had to do all the other episodes. But where's the fun in that, eh? None. So here we are again, and this time it's official. Technically, they weren't leaked images the other day. They were literally just found at Target, so it's not necessarily unofficial, but you know what I'm saying. So yes, we got a little bit more information. We got to see Duke for the first time today, and that's a talking point that we'll get into. And another bit of news that Super 7 dropped today, which we'll talk about first, regarding a new brand that they're taking on, and we don't really know what that's going to look like yet. So that'll be the first thing we get into, and then of course we'll look at all of the new fancy promo images for Wave 2 of Reaction Plus, and we'll get stuck into the stuff that we haven't covered already, in preparation for mine and Pat's conversation about this again on Saturday. It's going to be like, you're going to have heard it so many times this week. So if you're not a Super 7 fan, probably best to turn off in it, really. Now's about the time to do that. But yeah, let's get stuck into it. We've got, like I said, a little bit of brand information, or new brand to reveal for Super 7 first. So let's get into it. Yeah, so we've got our new sexy promo images there of Duke, Ramar, Serpentor, and the Fatal Fluffy. But as I just mentioned prior to switching over to this point, was that Super 7, very, very recent, only like probably an hour ago or so, maybe a bit longer than that, posted that they are going to be doing Micronauts. Yes, coming soon, the interchangeable world of Micronauts. So my immediate thought is, ooh, O-ring ? Could that be where we're going, considering Micro Change, Micro Man, Micronauts? It's not all the same thing, I know, but a very interesting kind of development here, and it makes you think, ooh, maybe that's where we're going with this new Reaction Plus sort of kind of vibe. Are they dropping this to kind of hint at that? Most likely, I would say. On top of the on top of the image they posted, of course, they also stated this: the fate of the microverse will literally be in your hands soon. #coming soon. Usually when we get these kind of reveals or kind of brand announcements, you're looking at, like, I would say, not very long before you see what the situation is. So it's highly likely that we're going to be getting the answer to what the details to this very soon. Sorry, loads of you in the chat already, and the comments. Sorry guys, I haven't called anyone out yet, but thank you very much for all the comments so far coming in. I'll get to them as and when, and if there are any questions, obviously I'll look at those. Jeffrey said, I just got Ramar and Fluffy's at Target. Yeah, did you just message me, Jeff? I think you did. Or you messaged the show, I should say. Just ordered my Duke and Serpentor, says Paul. Nice. Hello, everyone. Remarkable, says Ed. Oh, Ed, you're always good for a decent pun. You and Scott Skeen and Ryan Daly. Sorry if I'm calling out some of you guys on here. You're all very good at the online pun, at the comment puns. Online pun, you know what I mean? But you guys stand out sometimes, and Ed, that's a beauty. Remarkable, brilliant. Jeffrey says, Dan, I was hoping it was going to be Visionaries. You never know. At this rate, if we get in Micronauts and Joe, that's the other thing as well. We'll probably have to hold. I mean, this could be Ultimates, I guess. It could be Reaction. It could be something new or different. Who knows? My guess, though, would be, if I was betting, would probably be on O-ring construction. But that is, like I said, something that we'll have to wait for. But all very exciting, isn't it? And obviously, I just wanted to mention this first and see what you guys thought about it. Does that mean, we're going to see we're going to see ROM? Are we going to see Mask and Transformers and all those kind of like brought into the kind of O-ring sort of area. You'd kind of hope so, wouldn't you? I would anyway. I think it'd be really cool. And Visionaries, of course. There's a lot. I mean, there are so many options here, but before getting ahead of ourselves, let's focus on the fact that Micronauts are just around the corner. And like I said, probably, I don't know if next week, well, you might see something tomorrow, but the way that they revealed when they do these teases, the reveal of the official stuff isn't far away, is it? So, yeah. Yes, Talib, like Revolution, in that sort of like, and yeah, Mask is another one, actually. I say Mask, but then I think Loyal Subjects has Mask as well as My Pet Monster and all that. Not that they were connected to the continuity, but you know what I mean. They've got a bunch of stuff they're working on at the moment. They're doing very vintage, it sounds like, kind of vehicles and figures, but by the sound of what we've been hearing coming out of, you know, the interviews they've done in magazines and what have you. So that one, I don't know. You know, they may have got the Mask. Who knows? That'd be friggin' amazing. I feel like Mask is definitely one of the bigger low-key niche brands. Does that make sense? They're the biggest of, I think, like if you take Micronauts and you take ROM and you take Mask and you take all of those, obviously taking Transformers and G.I. Joe out of the mix, Mask is a big one, and it's one lots of people remember, whether it's just for the intro, you know, in terms of like the iconic intro to the cartoon. If it's just the cartoon you had exposure to, you know, if you had exposure to the toys, whatever, what have you. We had the Marvel UK comic out here as well. Was it Marvel UK? Or have I just made that up? We had a really good comic in the UK for Masks, and with you know, its own continuity and own stories and stuff like that as well. It was great. But yeah, biggest of the little guys, indeed, Jedi Ben. That's a good description of it. Is it still niche? Absolutely. Is it going to have less of a following than a lot of the bigger ones like Joe, Transformers? Absolutely. But it hasn't really been revisited strongly enough, I don't think. Yes, we've had it kind of pop up with Revolution, but it never really had. It hasn't had that modern era sort of renaissance that a lot of these other brands have had. Even Micronauts has had a little bit. Hasbro did delve into Micronauts a little bit, of course, with that SDCC exclusive that I did pick up. But you know, and they've sort of had, there's been a lot of nearly times with Micronauts as well. But yeah, and obviously the Revolution box set sort of had Micronauts in it in that kind of cutesy way that was in sort of scale with the other figures. But yeah, like Mask just hasn't had that kind of return to form, and I feel like a bit sad about that, that it hasn't had that. But with the Loyal Subjects, it's going to have that, so that's something to look forward to. Will Super7 be getting on board as well? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But they're getting Micronauts. What are we expecting in the chat, people? Stanley says, here we are again. Yes, here we are in another episode of the Full Force, another live stream off the back of Super7 News. 3 days in a row, 3 eves in a row. What are we saying here? What are we saying? I didn't even realize Skeleton Crew Kid figs were out, says Carl. Neither did I. Chris, actually, no, I did. Mask still seems to be the biggest lost property. That's what I feel, 100%. Jeffrey says Mask is being done by the Loyal Subjects. As I've just said, yes, very true. I really like the concept of Revolution. It's a shame it didn't work out. Concept was great. Execution was really poor. Some of it was really good, and some of it I just was like missed the mark totally. There was the issues with the way that the issues with how the issues came out. So there was an issue. Stop saying issue. There was a problem whereby a certain comic in the run came out before the actual official reveal of a bad guy, and we were kind of like, we were given the reveal before, like, but it wasn't. We were spoiled of the reveal, is what I'll say, because of the way that the comics were delayed in coming out. And again, that was a problem with IDW for the longest time, was the scheduling. They never got that right. I was always waiting weeks and weeks after we should have had the issue, and then it would appear and you're like, what is going on? So yeah, again, I think with Revolution, great concept, really poor execution. And then it just seemed to, like, all of the stories, like the Mask comics seemed to really, like, they rushed the end and it was awful. The last few issues of the Mask comic were terrible. Like, the artwork was rushed because it was like, again, they were rushing to meet a schedule by the looks of things, and were already behind. And they just had to rush it and it was awful. Love the new Reaction Plus. Can't wait for the Micronauts reveal. Indeed, Eric. Mars seems to have a lot of fans. It does, but again, I'm not sure how much of that is going to relate to, how many people are going to jump on those Loyal Subjects figures. We'll have to wait and see, won't we, on that one? And they have we have seen some sort of Mask adjacent, albeit unofficial, from Ramen Toys as well. I was hoping you'd pop on. I'm excited for Super7 Wave 2 to be launched as Nighttime Canadian Crime Mysteries and the Weird. Thank you, Nighttime Canadian Crime Mysteries and the Weird. We'll be talking about the Wave 2 very shortly. I think Energon Universe is a good way to fit Mask back into a more modern interpretation, says Carl. I agree. And then Nighttime Podcast YouTube channel has also commented. I'm glad you hopped on. I'm excited after Super7 Wave 2 launch day. Me too. Let's get stuck into that. But just two more. Jedi Ben says, fingers crossed, Loyal Subjects pulls it off proper, and same for all the other niche brands in other licensees' hands. I agree, Jedi, in that one. And Talib says, the ROM Transformers crossover in Revolution Comics was a bright spot. I really enjoyed that. The ROM comics were really good. The Action Man comics were really good. There was some brilliant stuff in there. Anyway, Ed says, Mask is a vehicle line, sure, but I'd really like to see some 6-inch figures. Same. You never know. You might get like some sort of Ultimates vibe with those. But again, is it too niche to, support that? In any case, Micronauts coming soon. Very excited for that. Now, we had images over the last couple of nights from Michael. Sorry, Michael, I'm so poor with the pronunciation of your name. I still don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to attempt it again. And again, I will apologize in advance, but Michael Srisrakorn, or Risrakorn, is it a silent S? Srisrakorn? Anyway, Michael posted the images of Serpentor in hand, which got us all excited. I did a news burst. Also had the cross-sell on the back, which kind of also backed up what we'd seen from those leaked listings from BBTS. And then we got more images later on from Toy du Jour of Fatal Fluffy and Ramar in hand. So we are going to go through, first off, Serpentor. Then the official images obviously now are on the Super7 website, link in the description, and you can order Serpentor and Duke from the Super7 website. Ramar and the Fatal Fluffy are available at Target, but are not available on super7.com as yet. But that's usually what they do with those sort of Target exclusives. I guess they are in a way, but they will appear on the Super7 website shortly. They're just showing up at Target stores first. Maybe they're just giving them like a little bit of a heads up on those. There is another figure apparently that we've been told to look out for, so keep an eye out for any cheeky sneaky wave figure that we don't recognize. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a what do you call it, like a repaint of a kind of character that maybe already be in the line. Like maybe it's a repaint of, I'm just going to put it out there, is it Red Laser as Cobra Commander? Maybe not, but it could be that. It could be a repaint of Snake Eyes. It could be a repaint of, I'm trying to think of any other repaints in there. The Bat, maybe? I don't know why, but it could be a Bat repaint. Or it could be something brand new, like a character we haven't seen yet, that is maybe also... Oh, Duke was the other one, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the idea the other day of maybe it's a Tiger Force Duke. That would be kind of cool. 2 Dukes in a wave, interesting. But also if it's just a repaint of the one we already have and it's Tiger Force, that would be kind of fun. And before you say it, but Chris, Super7 focus on the animation and comics. Would they do a figure that's like that? That is, whatever. Yeah, they would, because we've seen Tiger Force already from Super7, and arguably Tiger Force Duke has shown up in animation for the um, commercials for Tiger Force. Yes, WJ, I'm aware, called it out, posted the video of McDowell's in-hand review, and we'll be talking about it at the end as well. But thank you for pointing that out in the comments as well. Anyway, oh, it could be the female character from the Duke and Raymar fight, because, well, yeah, let's get to that in a second. We're talking about Serpentor at the moment. So Serpentor looks pretty cool, actually, and the promo images are even cooler. And of course, we've sort of seen this one in card, but in hand. But seeing the figure on that promo image really kind of, like, I was like, yeah, it's cool. Anyway, it's Serpentor. It is a Sunbow version of Serpentor. Head looks pretty large, but I'm pretty sure the head on the original was a little bit large too. Obviously, it's the mask is pretty big, and then obviously the bit at the back makes it look a little bit even more bulbous. But it's cool, and also the snakes stick out a bit more. Kitty said. I was having a conversation with the guys as well, and we were kind of saying it would be really cool if they'd have given him a stiffened snake. Kitty said, as a kind of nod to that movie scene. But who knows? Maybe there'll be another version of this with sort of movie-esque bits and bobs as well. But he only gets his dagger. So there you go. We get the dagger. No snake, stiffened or unstiffened. And I don't know. Yeah, solid, nice look, Sunbow-esque. There you go. Jobs are good. And this was the promo image and looks really cool. And also the cape definitely has that sort of original vibe to it. I'd like to see that in hand, though. I really want to see how sparkly it is, because from the images that we saw the other day from Michael, there was definitely a fleck in there, like a shiny fleck in there that was in the original, and I really like that. Carl says they could sneak in Matt again to classified. Matt Tracker. Yeah, they could do. Super7 shipped my Serpentor today, says Jason. Yes, they are available. So they're in Target stores, and Duke and Serpentor are available to order online. And I think BBTS has them as well. I saw them make a post earlier today as well. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be in all the places that you expect. I'm waiting for Super7 Beastie Boys Sabotage Ultimates in February. Sabotage is the intro song for the Seattle Kraken taking the ice. So it'll be I spying them around the arena on game days. Stanley, that's really cool. The Beastie Boys Sabotage Ultimates look incredible. I love Sabotage as well. One of my favorite songs of all time. And the Beastie Boys, one of my favorite bands of all time, or favorite hip-hop groups, whatever you want to say. I love them. Road Pig John says, I have to buy an army of Fatal Fluffies. Man Serpentor is cool. Yes to both of those. WJ, is the snake hood removable without breaking? I don't know. I'm sure there'll be a video of him soon, and we'll see. But as far as I'm aware, I imagine it's backpack peg scenario, so it probably won't be glued on. I need a bunch of those Fatal Fluffies, says Paul. Don't we all? But moving on, we got our first look at Duke. And what I really liked to see with the official reveal of Duke, we hadn't seen an unofficial one technically, or an official from the store in hand bought one. We get his headband from the Arena of Sport. So he does come with the headband from Arena of Sport. So it does make sense with Raymar, and it does immediately mean you've got a Duke and Raymar from that mini-series going on. But it's removable, so it's even better. Did not know that we were getting that headband. We were under the impression it was going to be a standard cartoon Duke, but did not know there was a removable headband in there. So that is a great extra that I'm really happy about. And it means we're not going to have to be forced in the future to get some sort of convention exclusive Arena of Sport battle between Duke and Raymar. You've got them now, and you've got the Arena of Sport Duke effectively if you want it. Very much a cartoon related Duke. And again, a lot of people said to me they were surprised. Mark said, and Talking Joe reached out to say he was surprised Duke was such a straight up sort of, Duke version. And I kind of expected it. I mean, seemed to be on the cards for a while. We knew it was a cartoon Duke that was coming. Like I said, he isn't. I mean, it's a new head sculpt, which we also expected. It's a good head sculpt, I think, as well. I think it improves on that original Duke, but at the same time is not about the toy. This is about the Sunbow cartoon, so it's definitely a bit closer to the Sunbow kind of look. So again, it's maybe worth getting a Duke now, even though it's like core character hump style. You know what I mean? Like there's a core character hump element here that we're gonna have to deal with. But yeah. Kyoto Films says Micronauts. EE has them on the drop zone for tomorrow, so we're not waiting long. Brilliant. That's a nice bit of information there, Kyoto Films. Thank you very much. So the fact that there's going to be a drop tomorrow means that we can keep our eyes peeled for tomorrow. And I might be going, well, I'll probably save that reveal for the weekly because I don't know if I've got opportunity to go live every single night this week, but we'll see. Peter says looks better than the Snake Eyes from Wave 1. Yeah, it is core character, but it does have a nice vibe to it. And of course, like I said, the fact that it comes with the headband for Duke is great. Anyway, love that. And thanks for the extra information there, Kyoto Films. Appreciate it. WJ says, I'd be happy with just one Fluffy. Put him at the Terradrome brig since it has a whip. Talk, Joe. Wish crack. Yeah, crack. Yeah, exactly. That would be so cool to have him in a Terradrome setting. Anyway, Duke, headband, brilliant. We're in. And here is a shot, not of him wearing the headband, actually, but a side shot of him in action. Interesting with this image, it's funny how like the contrast of the kind of shirt seems quite bright, and then the pants seem to be kind of faded out. But like definitely, yeah, it looks a little kind of transparent-ish there, doesn't it? Anyway, I can't wait to see this actually in hand. So yeah, looks cool, looks nice. But there you go, more promo images to deal with. And then we get promo images of Ramar. Now we don't get all the images for this one because they're not on super7.com yet, but you can access them from Target. So maybe they're on the Target website. I haven't looked actually. Not necessarily. Sometimes that is not the case. And you were only showing up in store at the moment, but I'm going to have a look. Target.com, and let's see if I can search Ramar. That's not going to find anything, is it? No. So maybe they're not available just yet online. They'll find their way out there. But yeah, usually the Target website does pop them on there a little bit later on. They said in the post on their socials that these are available at Target, the Fatal Fluffy and Ramar, but they are not on the Super7 website yet. There you go. Jeffrey says, I can give you the assortment DPCI if you want it, though. I'm okay, thank you. But if you want to put it in the chat for other people, that's totally fine by me. Anyway, Ramar looks phenomenal. I think this is a really good addition to the O-ring line. I think it's something fresh. It's something different. I'm really glad they did this kind of size of the figure. As we've seen already in those other images, we will probably see the Toy du Jour images at the end. I think they're still in here in this particular slideshow. We'll see that kind of scaling difference with the original Tiger Force Duke. So you get that kind of a good idea of how big these particular figures are. I really like them. I think it's such a good idea to do this. Keep them O-ring and in scale with the other figures, so they're not like, in some lines. I'm looking at you, Transformers, and probably Masters of the Universe. When you started getting different size characters, they would, or different. There would be lots of different construction going on, character to character. Obviously, in Masters of the Universe, most of them had the same body shape and all that kind of stuff. But then you get other characters that were slightly bigger or different slightly that would then have different body construction. And it almost like took them out of the line a little bit. They didn't feel like they made sense all the time. I'm looking at things. I'm thinking specifically, actually, when it comes to this sort of thing, I'm looking at like Transformers and how scale just isn't a thing in those early kind of G1 toys. You've got the kind of cartoon and comics, and then you've got the toy line, which is all over the place because it was taking from different toy lines that already existed. It makes sense. Different tooling, different construction, what have you, different sizes. So I kind of like the fact that they kept the construction and they just made them not even slightly bigger, much bigger. And it's so they don't feel like they don't work with the line. Yeah, Ram Man's a good shout, SVF and G. Ram Man with that gimmick separates himself from like all the others, and it's kind of a weird thing. I still enjoyed the figures and played with them as a kid and didn't really care too much. But you know, you look back and there's a definite separation between some of the characters because of the construction. And yeah, Transformers is a good example because you know you're looking at all sorts of different crazy things. I mean, look at Ratchet and Ironhide in G1, all over the shop. But anyway, I digress. I like the fact that we've got this construction in a big figure that is bigger and doesn't lose anything for being, you know, close to that scale. It feels like it's in scale to me personally. It feels right. Same with the Fluffy. It might not, when you look at the Sunbow cartoon, the Fatal Fluffy might be much, much bigger than the Joes, but I don't think it necessarily has to be in the action figure. It still has that effect. So yeah, good stuff. A lot of people, yeah, Quinn is a good shout. Quinn and Dr. Venom also, yeah, I think those would be great shouts for the O-Ring. Get in the comments, what would you like to see in O-Ring going forward, because there's a lot of characters that, you know, would make for really good additions to the O-Ring line, and I think popular ones too. What I like about this particular Reaction Plus line so far is how sort of excited people have been and how well they've done in terms of selling these, because I haven't really seen, I saw one Cobra Commander O-Ring figure in my, like, you know, travels to multiple different stores recently. One O-Ring Cobra Commander is all I've seen. So they're obviously doing well. Stanley says, Chris, do I know Kyle Lodiga? Lodiga? Not sure how to pronounce that. I feel terrible again. I'm awful name pronunciations, have you noticed? On the Super 7 design team, he's on GDL and Toy Anxiety often. Maybe you could reach out for an interview. Drop Rockstar movie Wahlberg references for points, for bonus points. Okay. I don't know Kyle, but that does sound like a really good chat if he'd be up for it. Yeah, I'll have to reach out. Captives of Cobra Family and Armored Suits is a good shout, W. Yeah. If I spot these in the wild, I will buy them, says Chris G. James Howlett says Big Lob and cartoon accurate Nemesis Enforcer. Again, good shouts. Matthew says, I saw 4 O-Ring Snake Eyes and 1 Cover Girl and 1 CC in a Target the other day. You're doing better than I am, mate. That does lend itself more to the distribution of Targets, doesn't it, than anything else. Ramar and Fluffies are the same height as vintage Visionaries, although Visionaries are definitely bulkier. Interesting. I was looking at those thinking, yeah, I'll have to, because I thought the Visionaries were bigger, obviously bigger than O-Ring Joes, but I didn't think they were Ramar Fluffy level size. I'll have to look at them side by side. There'll have to be a comparison of Ramar and a vintage Leoric. Anyway, Pete says, I haven't seen any of these in store. Distribution is still crap in the Midwest. We pre-order virtually everything just to get our foot in the door. Yeah, I find that out here as well, honestly. Quinn and Dr. Venom are 2 big ones for me, especially after that Skybound compendium, says Kyoto Films. Man of Action says the 5-point figures that Super 7 made, more of the Python Patrol and the green shirts. Yeah, good shout. Good shouts. Get some of those, yeah, the 5-point ones that were really like unique that we'd never seen before in the O-Ring. It makes a lot of sense. Airborne Custom says, just stopped at Target, and where the Joe and Cobra Reaction figures have master or common DPCIs, the Ramar and Fatal Fluffy now have their own master DPCI, but Serpentor stays under the Cobra one. Thanks for that deeper explanation, Darren, of those bits of info. W says, Mara, the Cobra Mermaid or Mermaid. Yes, absolutely. Mara comes up quite often in these conversations. Raven's another one that you pointed out there. Shipwreck Synthoid family. Just some sort of like melted Synthoid, half melted Synthoid would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, the miscolored Cobra Trooper. I don't think we'll see that one personally. That was an animation error in Worlds Without End, wasn't it? Baroness's Cobra Trooper assistant. Does anyone know whether Super 7 can do holograms, says James? Not a clue, but holograms would be friggin' amazing. Are we getting Super 7 Stinky Diver? I'm not sure if it stretches that far to, was that Nickelodeon? Poor Shipwreck, indeed. Why didn't we get the radioactive Snake Eyes in Wave 1? Mine was just blue, lol, yeah. Well, I think that might be something that we'll see in the future. Anyway, Ramar, brilliant stuff. And here's his card as well. We saw the artwork already because obviously we've seen the cards in hand. It's nice to see that promo image, though, of Ramar. But like I said, Ramar and Fatal Fluffies are available at Target, but not on the Super 7 website just yet. But they will follow soon, which is shortly and soon combined. Then also the Fatal Fluffy. We can't keep talking about this stuff without talking about how good this figure is. This is amazing. What a just on point design. They've nailed this, in my opinion. Brilliant articulation looking. It just looks great. I just think this is absolutely phenomenal. And the sculpt on the hair, so good. They've done too much. You might argue, actually, it's too good. I'm just absolutely a big fan of this. I think it's beautiful. This just nailed it. The only thing I would have said was they should have given us a little mini Fatal Fluffy to go with this one, so we could have had the transformation kind of between the two of them. But it's just so well done. The whip, great addition, of course, for the Fatal Fluffy, obviously very famous for those electro whips. I think the only thing they could have done better was to make it glow in the dark, which I think obviously would have been an extra cost that wasn't necessary. But a glow in the dark one would have been kind of fun as well, I think. But it's brilliant. Next level, love it. He also gets a little, sorry, I don't know why I'm kicking off it. He also gets a little laser pistol as well, which again is synonymous with that episode, the Pyramid of Darkness miniseries. And yeah, like I said, it's not shown in this particular image, but we do see it there in the on the card on the render. Interestingly enough, I believe it's actually in the top left, the where it's positioned in the actual physical bubble, not on the bottom right on this render. Probably just a change they made when it came to actually putting the figures together on the packaging and in the bubble. But we've seen that, of course, with Toy de Jour's images. We've seen the pistol in the card and obviously in hand as well. But really, really cool. Artwork's nice on this one as well. Really tight. And you don't get much space to work with on this one, because that bubble is taking up loads of space, which is quite funny, and also just shows you how hench this Fatal Fluffy is. But yeah, definitely needed a mini Fluffy, I think, but we'll probably get them in some other way, shape, or form. They've probably got an idea and a different way of releasing certain things in certain ways, so there may be further down the road we might see that little mini Fatal Fluffy, and I would be surprised if we don't see it, to be honest. I sent a photo of Ramar and Leoric. Thank you, Jeffrey. Let's have a look. I can sort of share it on screen. But yeah, it's funny enough, it looks like Leoric's ever so slightly taller. But there is a vintage Leoric and Ramar next to each other. Sorry, it might be the angle I'm holding it at. It looked like Ramar was bigger there, but in actual fact, that isn't necessarily the case. But there you go. Very similar sizes. Yeah, very similar sizes indeed. Cool. Thank you for that, Jeffrey. Really appreciate the extra on that one. Is that the vintage Leoric, or is that the vintage one, or is that the... No, actually, it can't be the Revolution one, because the Revolution one didn't have the hologram, did it? That clearly has a hologram. Okay, cool. I can see. No, you don't have to answer that question. Anyway, so yeah, there's the Fatal Fluffy on card and the promo image for it, of course. I'm very excited for these. And of course, like I said, Toy du Jour posted these awesome in-hand pictures very recently, yesterday in actual fact, showing these figures in card. And you can see the pistol in the top left-hand cut behind him in the bubble there. There you go. Cool. And of course, another shot to show you how big these figures are compared to a vintage Duke, which is awesome. Cool. People are finding these a lot now in all the targets, which is really cool. So they're kind of getting out there. Brilliant. Yeah, go nuts, guys, and enjoy your Fatal Fluffy, Ramar, Duke, and Serpentor hunt. One more shout out is to McDowin, who I did shout out earlier because WJ mentioned it as well. And that is that McDowin did an in-hand video review, which I've posted on our socials, so you can go and check that out. It's a link in the... Did I put it in the description? I don't think I did. But you can see it on our socials right now. And it's a video in-hand review of Fatal Fluffy and Ramar. Go check that out. And they look great, don't they? Look how good they look in hand, in reality, in real life. Even the hooves. My hooves. They've got the hooves on point as well. So good. Brilliant stuff. I would want a supersized vinyl Fluffy. It would be life size. That would be cool, Emperor Antonio of Ceotopia. I would like a plush Fatal Fluffy, in actual fact. I'd like a little plush one, like one of the little babies before they turn into crazy monsters. And I'd want an absolute full-size like actual plush one as well, please. If someone could do that, it'd be great. WJ says, what was the storyline lore for Visionary, since various comics would put them in the same universe as Joe and Transformers? So originally, it was, Earth, and then was it Prismos or was it Earth? I think Prismos was it. I kind of have a feeling it was Earth, and then it went into no, I think it was Prismos for all forever. So Prismos was a planet. They were well advanced in terms of technology and magic as well, apparently. So they had the society. It was super futuristic, and then one day was it the three sons of Prismos aligned and caused some sort of like crazy natural phenomenon that basically kind of took out all the technology. So they were plunged into like almost like a, how would you put it, like a throwback to not having technology effectively. They had to go back to like almost like the year of the time of knights, and I can't even think of the term, but you know what I mean. It basically set them back many years, and they end up kind of like harnessing the power of magic in order to revitalize the technology. And that was the kind of original Dark Ages. Thank you. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Thank you, Darren, for making it very easy and not making me trip all over the place. And because of that, they're then in a different, you're not really sure where they are in terms of, real world timing. Now, that said, Visionaries and how they were combined with other things, it was a different continuity completely, and they were connected through things like the space bridge with Transformers and stuff like that, and that's sort of how it was. Cybertron was sort of like important to that as well, but it was a different storyline and continuity completely when they tried to combine them. Does that help? Probably not. I've probably just tripped all over that. In any case, shout out to McDowin for his in-hand of Fatal Fluffy and Ramar. Sounds like He-Man, but with less steroids. Yeah, about that. But yeah, hopefully that kind of covers that particular aspect. I should know more because I am actually a huge Visionaries fan. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I've never had to explain the storyline before. It's funny. I must have watched those cartoons, that series as well, over and over and over again. I forget stuff. And it's like so much stuff gets pushed out of my brain. In any case, that is everything for tonight. So yes, we have new official reveals for Wave 2 of Super7's Reaction Plus Wave 2 G.I. Joe figures. Keep an eye out because there might be even more information to follow, because like I said, there's that figure that's going to show up at Target as a Target exclusive that is part of this wave kind of thing. You know how they've done with Reaction in the past? That's as far as we're aware anyway. So keep your eyes peeled for any cheeky sort of extra figure that might pop up. And also, I'm kind of excited to see what that is. Could it be a Tiger Force Duke? Could it be some sort of, could it be like a, I don't know, like one of those foreign variants that then is like a pre-paint of what's to come in the next wave? You know, it could be like, could it be Storm Shadow? And then we've got like a Storm Shadow coming. That would be kind of, you know, like, not Storm Shadow. Could it be like a Satan or a Ninja Coup or a Ninja Viper with an eye on Storm Shadow kind of entering the fray in, like, I don't know, maybe like a comic version of Storm Shadow? What difference would that be? I don't know. It's hard to say. They just say it's a comic or cartoon version, and we get a different version of it. They might do a different head sculpt for Storm Shadow. That's something I didn't even think of, but they could do a different head sculpt for Storm Shadow to make it a little bit more Sunbow-like. Maybe? I don't know. What do you guys think? It doesn't matter. Let me know in the comments. I'll find it eventually. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll probably see you tomorrow if more news happens, which has been the case. And also, well, Micronauts is dropping tomorrow, so you know there might be something I might, if it's very relevant to what we're talking about, I may go live and talk about it, or we may save it for the weekly. Either way, I'll see you soon. So stay fresh, cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3, full force. Laters. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.